Tradition states that every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting. Declining outside contributions, we will now pass the basket. This is a weekly literature or step meeting. Our format is as follows. The speaker is asked to speak for no longer than 30 minutes. He or she spends 15 minutes on qualifying themselves and 15 minutes on speaking either on literature or for the step of the week. It's going to be followed by shares, discussions, and questions until 7 p.m. We then end the meeting with either the Lord's Prayer or the Serenity Prayer, whatever this young man chooses at the end, okay? You can find our past weekly meetings on a YouTube page called the Stay Alive Literature and Step Group meeting. You can also find information about our upcoming meetings and other great stuff at the Doylestown Recovery Group Facebook page. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe and share. This brings us to the speaker portion of this meeting on this day of December the 8th, right, 2025 in Doylestown, PA. The Stay Alive Literature and Step Group meeting at St. Paul's Lutheran Church. Tonight's speaker is Darryl, and he will be sharing his experience on Step 8. Let's welcome Darryl.
What's up, everybody? My name is Darryl. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Darryl.
Congratulations on all the anniversaries today. 24 hours. Big ups to you. Keep coming back. It's important. If you don't know what to do, just find somebody that has what you want. This program, I was told, was based on attraction rather than promotion. So if you see somebody that you're attracted to, like I did when, my 5th time coming around in AA, you link on to them and hold on to them, and they will show you the way. And I guess I qualify myself. What qualifies me to be an alcoholic? Well, what qualifies you to be an alcoholic, man? I mean, I don't have enough time for that one. That'll take me for, let's see, I'm 43. I've been qualified since I was out the womb, probably, I'm just calling it how I see it, drinking at a young age and doing things out of characteristics at a young age, doing things that I wasn't raised to do. That's what qualifies me to be an alcoholic, putting alcohol in my body and taking that first sip, and it takes me right to Bolivian. And I do things drunk that I don't do sober. And that's what qualifies me to be an alcoholic. But also, with that, once I put that substance down, once I put the drink down, like the brain starts going, and then that's when alcoholism kicks in. That's really alcohol. That's when I need Alcoholics Anonymous, guys, right there, when I'm sober. I don't need it when I'm actively drinking. I need it when I'm not drinking. I need it when I'm suffering. I need it when I'm at home and I see this guy and I start gossiping about this person in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I see people doing things out of the ordinary, and I resent myself right out of AA. That's what qualifies me to be up here. That's alcoholism to me. That's untreated alcoholism. Treated alcoholism is coming here, being of service, getting speakers. I liked how Gary asked me to speak. He followed up on it. He's of service to this, and he told me that we're going to talk about Step 8 tonight. I didn't know we were talking about Step 8 tonight. I didn't know this was a step meeting, but Alcoholics Anonymous gave me a life beyond my wildest dreams. I don't really like to talk about all the gory stuff. Like I said, we don't have enough time. But if you ask my family, how was I? I could give you my mom's phone number. I could give you my dad's phone number. You could ask them, and they'll tell you. They'll be like, anniversaries are great. Like I said, I don't celebrate my anniversary though. I don't collect the chip. I don't collect coins. I did that before in the past. I also came to your meetings, drank your coffee, eat your donuts. When I collect coins and I tell my family that I'm Darryl, I have 60 days sober. My dad is the type of person. he throws things in my face all the time, and he's not an alcoholic. My dad'll open up a can of beer, take a sip of it, a couple sips of it during Super Bowl or something like that. It'll sit there till the next day, and I'll say, Dad, I got 60 days sober. My first time I got 60 days sober. Well, who cares? I don't drink. You know, I don't have a drinking problem. Why are you telling me? You know, and that was when that was like one of my resentments early on in Alcoholics Anonymous when I was young. You know, I can remember I got sober. My journey began in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, when I walked into this room. It's called Cherry Street in Pottstown, PA. It's a clubhouse, and it's of the rowdy type, of the untreated type. You know, and but you do have some guys in there who are strong-willed. They like to control the meeting, and we call them old timers. And these old timers, you know, some of them believe in white knuckling it, and some of them believe in going through the steps. And you know, like you got your mixed crowds in clubhouses. If anybody ever been to clubhouse meetings before, you know. But these guys who were rough around the edges. This one guy named Kensington Joe. I come here with my whole crew. You know, like guys from recovery houses and halfway houses. That's what Pottstown's full of. And we're all sitting there after disrupting the meeting, coming in from the smoke break and stuff like that. You know, Ron would call us riffraff. You know, that's what we were, the riffraff coming in. And we were a total nuisance, a disturbance. You know, somebody always had to tell us what to do. So this guy named Kensington Joe, he that's a name, isn't it? His name was Kensington Joe, they called him. He was an old timer. He had about 35 to 40 years sober at that time. And so he shares after the smoke break, and he says, yeah, I told you guys over there, you know, they called it Relapse Row. That's where we all sat, Relapse Row, you know. That's what they call it, Relapse Row. It's a clubhouse, you know. That's what happens, you know. So we're sitting in Relapse Row, and it really was Relapse Row because people come in and out, you know. You see guys there like this. And I mean, like, really, you see dudes, like, literally hitting on girls, getting their phone numbers and stuff like that. You got to tell people to tell them to shut up, you know, like, during the meeting and stuff. So he tells us, look to your left and look to your right. And this is, you know, like, I would say that this man's statement, what he said, kept me sober, but it didn't. But it planted a seed in my body, and it's still with me still to this day. What he said was, I want you guys to look to your left and look to your right. Because in 90 days, he said, matter of fact, I'll give you guys 30 to 60 days. Because that person next to you, they won't be here. They'll be drunk. They'll be dead. You know, and that was another resentment that I acquired early on in Alcoholics Anonymous right there. I was like, man, this guy don't know what he's talking about. But I didn't say it like that. And I had a huge resentment towards this guy. But you know what? He was right. He said, because you know why? Because once the pain goes away, they go away. And that's true. You know, once the pain goes away, I could go to, like I said, I came to your meetings, ate your donuts, hit on your girls, you know, ate all your food, didn't put nothing in the basket, you know, a total disturbance to the meeting, untreated, sober. I mean, while I'm sober, you know, so-called have a sponsor, you know, the sponsor told me specifically, and it worked, you know, don't drink, come to meetings. I didn't drink, I came to meetings, you know, got the results, got a job, got a girlfriend, got an apartment, boom. I stopped coming to AA. And that's what happened. You know, later on down that road, later on down that journey, as I'm romancing with this girl playing house, you know, things started to happen. We started to get comfortable. And I started to get irritable. I started to get restless. I started to get annoying. You know, I started to get more and more resentful towards people at work, started to get resentful towards her. She's not cleaning the house right, this and that. Next thing you know, this sounds like a good idea. I pick up a drink. And so we're drinking together and we're doing other things together. And you know, during that time, was it fun? No, it wasn't fun. But you know, like a person like me, I like to feel good. You know, whether it's money, sex, drugs, alcohol, no matter what it is, you know. And that man, what Kensington Joe said was right, you know. I got my Jordans, I got my cell phone, I got fresh clothes. I'm no longer looking like a hood rat in the meetings, you know what I mean? And I resent myself right out of AA. I'm not doing service. I'm not putting money in the basket, you know. I'm doing everything 100% wrong that they tell you not to do in AA early on in sobriety. All right, time goes on. I'm in this recovery house in Hatfield. A few years later, after relapse after relapse after relapse, I'm in a recovery house in Hatfield. I'm speeding along because of time. So I'm in this recovery house in Hatfield. We go to Expect a Miracle in Lansdale. Does anybody know where that is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I find this crew. Boom, we're hitting it hard. Like it was funny, right? Because me and my me and my roommate just came from the gym, and I remember he was doing push-ups in the parking lot. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is. I'm thinking about it now, like and it was winter time, and he wore this tight T-shirt, and I'm sitting next to him. I was laughing at this time, so because he wanted to impress people, so this guy speaking, and like that's what I'm talking about, attraction rather than promotion. This man is speaking he's talking about different things that I never heard in Alcoholics Anonymous before. He's talking about spirituality. First, he was talking about how he was untreated, but he said his first addiction was food. Going into being in Catholic school, sneaking in, the principal's office and the teacher's lounge, stealing food and stuff like that. He said that was his addiction. And I was like, I had other addictions too. I still have them. I have other addictions too. And when this man was speaking about spirituality and language of the heart, I said I got to get his phone number. And boom, that's when I first got his phone number. And he also told me something else that I never heard before in Alcoholics Anonymous. He invited me somewhere. I was invited to meetings, but not this kind of meeting. This meeting was a special meeting that I went to, and he told me to dress up, wear a shirt, wear a tie, like look presentable, clean up, you know, and everybody was telling me about him. They're like, yeah, man, that's the name tag guy. Like they're making fun of me in the recovery house for putting on a shirt, a tie, and a suit. And so we go to this meeting in Center City, Philadelphia. It was the best meeting I've ever been to in my life, still to this day. It was wild. It was wild Atlantic salmon. It was prime rib, wild rice. I mean, like the menu was insane. They had all these like cheeses and desserts and stuff everywhere. The speaker came from Las Vegas. There was a speaker from California. And this man knew everybody. He's shaking everybody's hand. I'm thinking he's some kind of AA celebrity. But as I'm going on in this journey, there are no AA celebrities, and so it's just fellowship. You come to these meetings, you go places, you go to conferences, you know people. You know people for the right motives. And I see women dressed up nice. I see men dressed up nice. I seen people talking presentable for the first time in my life. I'm like, where am I at? So I thought it was like some kind of banquet or something like that. These people are taking pictures with each other and they're talking. And so me and this man had a good time on our way down to the meeting. On the way back, he told me how it was. He said, if everybody in Alcoholics Anonymous did what you did in that meeting tonight, do you think there would be an AA? I said, what are you talking about? He said, how much money do you have on yourself? I pulled out a swat of money. I put it up. I'm like, okay, he's going to ask for gas money now. He's going to ask for toll money now. He said, no, that basket went around and you didn't put 1 cent in that basket. And that right there, Darryl, is the reason why you keep on relapsing. That right there is the reason why you keep on going out to drinking. He said, because all you do is come to AA and all you do is take. And there's a saying in these clubhouses, like I said before, like the man Joe said, once the pain goes away, they go away. This man said, I'd rather step on your toes than step on your grave, but he didn't say it in those words. But so right then and there, we got into action. We started doing things. The time is 6:21. I'm going to keep going. All right. So we start doing things in AA, and like I said, I could get resentful quick, and these guys in the house, I was getting resentful towards them because they were making fun of me. And I was finally doing something right. I was going to work. I was going to work on time. I was doing things, and I say this was about 10 years ago. Yeah, this was about 10 years ago. Yep, I still remember that. And my first act of service was actually in that room right there. He told me to come at 10 o'clock. We went to the meeting at 10 o'clock over there at Selden. It was a big book step study with 2 guys, with Ricky D and somebody else. I think it was Anthony Legato at the time, but we went to that meeting and we came back. We made coffee for this meeting, and he said, come back. And I said, you want me to come back? I said, I live 40 minutes away. You want me to come back? He said, yeah, come back. But dress up. So I came back dressed up, and we're setting up the room. It was just me and him, and that was my service commitment for a year and a half. I was doing that, and I got resentful towards that man that whole time. I was picking it apart. I said, you know what? I had fun doing it at first. I was relieved at first. I was doing step work. I was reading a book. I was going to these big book step meetings, and I was helping guys. You know, and what I said to him was, "Why am I doing this by myself? Why do you have me doing this by myself?" I thought he was racist. I thought he was picking on me right away. Everything that the book describes about untreated alcoholism, like I told you before, I could be sober, but alcoholism kicks in. The isms kick in right away when I'm not spiritually connected. When I'm not spiritually connected to God, when I'm not waking up in the morning and on my hands and knees praying to God, God, how can I be of service to you? When I'm not doing step 11 in the morning, so through prayer and prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God in the morning. When I'm not doing that, when I'm not asking God to review my 24 hours, as it says in the 11th step, to review my 24 hours ahead, when I'm not doing that, then boom, the alcoholism kicks in. All the symptoms kick in. My brain goes somewhere else. And it's not always towards drink. It's towards resentments. It's toward hate. It's toward anger. I get angry. Bam. Victim mentality. All that stuff kicks in. Everything about negative characteristics kick in. Gossiping. Everything. As time goes on and I'm doing this service commitment, he tells me, well, at least you're sober. And then boom, that's when it hit me. And guys in the house started seeing change in me, and people at work even started seeing change in me. And I had this little truck at the time, and it was the best truck I ever had in my life. It was the best vehicle I ever had in my life. It was a little Nissan Frontier, and I used to pack that thing up because he told me to. I used to pack that thing up, and I used to bring those guys here, and it made people feel like they were a part of something. It made people, they see me, so they started wearing suits and stuff like that. And everybody, and it's like this domino effect of this process that people go through in AA or in life. You are who you surround yourself around, no matter what. If you're always around people at work who are negative, who are always talking about the boss, who are always talking about this, it's like they say in the big book, it's like you come into this place and you try to be the director, you try to do everything, man, this place, AA's been running for years and years. Nobody's going to change Alcoholics Anonymous. Where you work at, they've been doing it fine without you for a long time. And it's like your recovery house you're at, they've been doing it. They've been doing it good. The rehabs you go to, they've been doing it better. You can't change nothing, and that's what AA taught me about surrendering and being powerless over this. So as I'm going through the steps, and we got to talk about step 8, like when I made this list of all these persons I had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all, that list, I realized that I didn't have to write every single person down on that list. All I had to do was write down the ones that were really bothering me, and the ones that I had to make amends to right away were, like the people in my family. But the biggest amends was to Alcoholics Anonymous, because there were people in this room that were trying to help me and I was rejecting their help. But as time went on, like in AA, things start to happen. Like that pain start to go away again. I don't think I had to come back to AA. I don't think I had to do this or that. And like I said before, when I picked up, I didn't pick up right away due to unfortunate circumstances. As you're looking at my left arm, there was a bad accident that happened 4 days before my wedding, and that was when I hated God, and that was when I hated the man that brought me into this process the right way, that spent this time, that brought me into this process the right way, that would always help me out. And that's when I became resentful towards everybody in AA. And I said, what the hell with AA? I'm done with AA. I'm going to do this church thing. I got resentful towards church. And, I could say when I picked up that drink, that was the best drink I ever had in my life. Because everything that was racing in my head, it all just went away instantly. And the book talks about that too. I went right back into Bolivian. I went right back into the way I was feeling. And as I get back into these steps, and as I get back into working with others, all this stuff goes away. Like I start to feel good. These steps right here, they do for me what alcohol they do for me what alcohol does for me. They get me out of me. Because when I wake up in the morning and I think about myself, that's the results that everybody's going to get. They're going to get Darryl. But when I ask God, God, what could I do for you? You're going to see godly results out of Darryl. You're going to see a godly Darryl. Darryl offering to help somebody at the grocery store. Like things that I won't normally do, things that I was taught in these rooms. And by me writing down this list, and like I said, you don't have to, jot everything down right away. Like take days and days. This this these are to get you free. Well, at least me. This is my message. This is to get me free right here, and this is the only thing that gets me free. You know, I harmed a lot of people while I was drinking. I harmed a lot of people when I wasn't drinking, and I still make amends to them. And my biggest amends to AA is just showing up today. And my biggest amends to my mom is just showing up. I hurt my mom so much. I called my mom so many names because when my mom and my dad broke up, I thought she was the worst person in the world, and I did so many things to her. And today, me and my mom, I could say we're really close. And the reason for that is because as I take this inventory, and when I see my mom on that list, and I made an amends to her, like I realized, my mom had 4 boys. I have 2 half brothers that she had before me. Now, when my brother, who's 2 years older than me, when he was 17, he went to jail for 18 years. He went to prison for 18 years. My oldest brother, he was always in and out of group homes all of his life. Me, I'm an alcoholic drug addict. My brother, the baby, he was a Division I athlete, and he got called into some drama, and he ended up doing 9 years in jail. So how do you think my mom feels? How do you think any mom will feel? And that's why I come to Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's why I'm there for my mom today. Now that brother that's 2 years older than me, he was found dead, 69th Street in Upper Darby. The cops knocked on her door. Her neighbor said she basically fainted. They had to take her to the hospital. They had to call the ambulance. The one that's older, he's in Kensington right now getting high. They don't know where he is. The last time my mom seen him, there was a newspaper article on the Philadelphia Inquirer. Somebody called her up a couple years ago and said, I think I see Ruben. And she looks at the newspaper, and it's him in an abandoned church. They do a huge article on the people down there, how they're getting high in abandoned churches, how they're shooting up dope and smoking crack, and it's him hitting a crack pipe right there. Now, did I harm my mom? Absolutely, 100%. She's number 1 on my list because I love her. AA second. And going on to step 9, when I made a direct amends to her, one of those amends is when I asked her, she asked me what goes on in these meetings, and I told her. And she wants me to help her find my brother down in Kensington. I know that's highly impossible, but I help you guys out. I'm here to help AA out because I was told that by this man. No half-stepping. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. That's how important AA is to me today. And for all you new people in here that are in recovery houses, halfway houses, like it's never too early or too soon to help somebody because you have a mom, you have a parent, your mom, I guarantee you, my mom is praying every night for somebody to help my brother. I pray to God my brother comes to a meeting like this. I pray to God my brother gets to a treatment center where you guys are at. And just for my mom's sake. Just so she could sleep at night. I heard a woman say the best sleep she had at night is when all 3 of her kids were in jail at the same time. And that is why I come to AA. And that is why I write down this list. That is why I do this daily inventory every day. And that is why I call this man. I'm still to this day every day. And if you're new, and you're struggling with this they say it, this too shall pass. But the only way it passes is if you're a part of this. You know, there's always people. People will always have something to say. You know, Ron needs. He don't need help. AA needs help. You know, greeters. You could always be a part of, and that's why people think they're not a part of AA because you're not. If you get a part of this, then you'll see the light. You'll really see the light, and you'll see the impact that you have on other people's children other than yourself. You know, because your mom, I guarantee your mom, you guys in these treatment centers and these recovery houses and stuff like that. I know there's a few of you guys here. Your mom is at night. She's sleeping good because she knows it's cold outside and that you're here. Your children are happy that you're here. They might be resentful towards you for something. I don't know. You know, if you have children, you know, like your dad, your brothers, your grandpa, your grandparents, you know, they're happy for you, you know. And I can't, like I said, I can't get to my brother, but I could sit down with somebody in a recovery house, which I do that. I call it Ground Zero, the clubhouse meetings, you know, and I'm sitting down with them, opening up this book. We're writing out this list. I'm helping them out, just like somebody helped me out. And for people that say, don't do it too fast, I got a quick story. Like I said, these old timers, it was a couple, it was about 2 weeks ago. I was in this meeting. I go to this meeting sometimes Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in Chester Springs. And this man was talking about, he had about 32 years sober. And he was talking about his grandson. His grandson came up to him. And they've been trying to get this kid sober since he was 15. He's 24 years old now. And his grandson came up to him and he said, "Pop, I got to talk to you." And right away, his grandmom started going into like anxiety attacks and stuff like that. He said, "Nah, grandmom, it's all right." And so they go out in the garage and they start talking. And he said his grandson pulls out this big envelope, you know, and gives it to him and says, "I believe this is for you." And he says, "What do you mean?" He says he opens up the envelope and he said, "It's literally a couple $1,000s." And he said tears start rolling down his eye. I said, "What's this for?" He said, "This is all the money I took from you guys over the years." And he said, "It's not my money, it's your money." And he said, "I see my grandson. He rides his bike to work. He don't ask us for a ride to work, you know." And he's struggling right now. Him and this guy just got an apartment. He gives me all this money. You know why? Because that freed him up. And he was like, this kid only got like 2 years sober, and I see how he's struggling. And I asked him, I said, "How fast did you go through the steps?" And he said, "It didn't take me long, but my sponsor said, if you want to be free, this is what you got to do." And he said, I've been saving up this money ever since I started working. And he told me, "I can't make an amends to you unless I have the money, because it's not my money, it's your money." And then next thing you know, the kid's dad calls him up and was like, he calls up his grandmom and says, he gave me an envelope full of money too. And so this kid is out here struggling to make ends meet, well, because he saved up all of his money to pay back his amends because he wanted to get free from this. He made a list, he put them on his list, and then he made an amends to them. That's what this is all about. It's not about you, it's about them. How free do you want to be? If you want to be free, if Darryl wants to be free, Darryl has to write down this list. Not take meds, not take pills to get me out of myself. Well, this is my message. When I got hurt, I was on like 9 different psych meds, no lie. I was on like 4 different pain meds, and it took me out of me. I'm an alcoholic, no matter what. Like I said, I like that stuff. And I call them comfort meds. That's my easier, softer way. And boom, I was trying to get that stuff. I mean, I could still get that right now. And and the book talks about that. No, suffer a little bit of pain. You'll get through it. You'll get through it, Darryl. You don't need that. You'll get through it if you do this. My name's Darryl, not Hall.
All right. Great job, man. Very good. All right. Wow. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. So we're coming to the part of the meeting where we're going to open up the floor for shares. So let's have it. Connor.
Connor,
Thank you, Connor.
Darryl, I really appreciate your story.